rock bottom is beautiful. Rock bottom is the most beautiful gift that you can ever experience. Everything is energy and everything is polarity. Everything is positive and negative, right? Cause and effect, whatever you want to call it. There's so many people who struggle with their weight. What they're actually struggling with is their relationship with food, which is their relationship with the mother. All of life's power is found where you disconnect, not just mentally, but literally, energetically from this system, this 3D world, and find out that the truth is that the something that you've been waiting for all along has been in here this whole time.
The big silence, empowering personal experiences, inspiring compassion, and healing lives. We are no longer silent. We are here.
The big silence. The big silence.
Welcome to the big silence, Danny Morel.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you here, Austin, Texas, since 2020.
Yeah.
Big move, big
Yeah.
changes. We were just talking about that. So Danny is a life coach and spiritual leader, and you reach out to millions, which I just learned 80% of your audience is women.
Yeah, and I giggle whenever people call me a life coach or a spiritual leader.
I mean, that's
I
on
know
your
that's
bio.
the thing. No,
I'm
I
just
know.
saying.
But it's like the deeper you go into the journey, the more you realize like you're just doing you and trying to help other people do them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally get what you're saying because people are like, "Oh, Karena, you're a fitness influencer in life." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm
You're
just
just
being
Kareem.
me."
That's
And
it. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not a coach. They're like, but you are.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've heard of you through the network in Austin for quite some time. And I'm so excited to finally meet you and get to know you more. And as I'm deep diving into everything that you've done, this certain pattern keeps showing up to my guests on the podcast of I came from this and this was my career. And then I transitioned to this. And before we get to this, I want to talk about you and your past and your growing up in New York and your parents.
Okay. What
So-
would you like to know?
Okay, you came from middle class New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Your parents are Ecuador and Dominican.
Yep.
So what was it like growing up in New York?
It was you know what I'll say? Today I can say this. If you live in New York, peace is probably not your priority. You know, maybe action is, maybe excitement, maybe energy and fun, but like peace. Let's just call it what it is. It's like that's not a place where you're going to go find peace, right? So for me, that's what it was. It was exciting. It was like every day walking out of my apartment building, something was going to happen. Either I was going to like get into a fight or get robbed or like go play stickball, or there was just always something happening. So yeah, it was like a constant state of
Stimulation.
Well,
I was just talking to you about Bobby, and he's from New York, and we were talking about the difference where I love living out in nature, and he's like, I want to be downtown, but he's from
Yeah.
New York.
yeah.
He's like, I need something to disrupt this.
Yeah, it's funny. That's what I'm going through right now with Jen.
Yeah.
It's it's interesting, but I'm sure we'll get into this. But the deeper you go into relationship and like the dynamics between a man and a woman, it's like I really find myself just wanting to make my woman happy. Like,
Bobby, where'd you go? Did you hear that?
like literally, right? So I was explaining to you, we just built this house.
Yeah.
But we built it out in, far away from the city. And Jen is from London. So she's been around, city life her whole life. And she's coming to the realization that she's really unhappy. So I literally had this conversation with her last week. We're looking for houses today. I said, baby, don't worry. We're moving. Because
Yeah.
I need her. Her being happy means home is happy, means I can go do what I need to go do.
I love that.
Yeah.
And there have been some scenarios since we moved to Austin where I'm like, Bobby, no, I don't want to live here.
Yeah.
And I don't. Well, he's
Oh,
like,
he's a
"Then
good
we'll-"
man. I
Yeah.
could feel
He's
him.
like-
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll move. But so growing up in New York, and then I love this story that you initially were into real estate. You were the first in your family to buy a family home,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then built this business in real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way it all started was my parents divorced, And when they divorced because my mom and dad always fought over the fact that my mom wanted to buy a house.
Mm.
And my dad was just never financially savvy. I don't think he's ever earned more than $30,000 in a year or something like that, you know? And I remember as a little kid, I just remember them always fighting about money and about my mom wanting to buy a house and my mom putting pressure on him. Like, if you don't do this, I'm not going to be happy type of deal, you
Mhm.
know? So then when they divorced, my mom went out to California. She took us, myself and my two brothers with her. And we instantly went from a two-family household to a single parent household where my mom couldn't afford much of anything. So we went on welfare
Mm.
is my story. And I went and I lived in the ghetto and I quite frankly was in a crime infested area, had to worry about SWAT teams and drug deals and drug dealers and all of that. And so by the time I turned 18, I just thought like no one is coming to like get us out of here. You know, I literally remember that moment and I thought like I don't have a dad, I don't have anybody like above me. It's me, my mom, and my two brothers. And in a weird way, my mom like stopped being my mom. My mom was almost like my partner, kind of like to make sure that our household was okay.
Yeah.
And I at 18 was the man of the house. And I
Mhm.
was like, I gotta buy us a house. And so
Yeah.
that became the goal was to buy my mom a house by the time I was 21.
And you did.
I did.
Isn't that interesting? You put your mind to it. And I love that you say, like, no one's coming to get you. And we hear that a lot more now. And I realized that when I was not until I was 21, where it was either I'm going to die this way or I'm going to take control of my life because no one is going to save me and
Yeah.
no one is going to help me.
If you think about it from a energetic and a spiritual perspective, it's like all I like to call it the three energies of human mastery, right? There's the energy of sex, which is how we transmute and like create life with another human being, or you can like behind that is relationships. There's the energy of health, or quite frankly, like how long you're going to live here on this planet while you're here. And then there's the energy of finances and money,
Mm.
right? And so what happens is that for most human beings, we have been used to living our life in a way where society, the TV, politics, and religion teaches us that life is outside of us,
Mhm.
right? So, like in religion, it's a story that something is going to come to save you, and there's something out there that you need to pray and ask to that's magically somewhere out there, right? When it comes to politics, it's someone out there is going to get voted into office, and
Save you.
somehow that's going to save you and change your life, right?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to TV with things like COVID, like something out there is going to like kill you. And if you don't do this, right? And all of life's power is found when you disconnect, not just mentally, but literally, energetically from this system, this 3D world, and find out that the truth is that the something that you've been waiting for all along has been in here this whole time. And when you tap into that, you literally can create whatever you want in life.
That's such a good way of saying it. And no one said that in that way on this podcast. Of we have been trained. I always talk about how Disney fucked us because like Disney is like, oh, my Prince Charming is coming
That's
and
right.
this and then yeah, the religion, that he, all of these things are going to save us. And that's such an important thing to soak in that it is within you.
It is because think of the energy behind it all.
Mhm.
Like you could be listening to me right now and you could be, probably what I said may have triggered some emotion in you, some anger in you. That's okay. Think of the energy of it all. Think of how many human beings come to this life, they live this life and they wait. Because that's what it all is doing. It's causing you to be in a state of waiting, even heaven,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Even
You're
heaven.
waiting just
Like
to get to heaven.
waiting to die so that you can experience heaven. I mean, shit, like heaven is this property.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why
Heaven is
not?
here right now.
Yeah,
Heaven is me and you meeting each other for the first
right.
time and like having,
Having fun and
yeah,
getting to
this
know
is,
each other
that's
and a
right.
conversation
That's
and
right.
interaction.
That's right. And we block ourselves from experiencing heaven on earth. This the system is like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And you are meant to like work your way through the puzzle and out of it so that you can experience heaven on earth here. And that means you get to have it all. The partner of your dreams, the money of your dreams, the health of your dreams, and there's no one stopping you.
So you saying that, I'm guessing you came from somewhere rock bottom.
Rock, 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 rock,
Rock,
rock,
rock,
rock,
rock.
rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back there.
Okay.
What was rock bottom for you?
Rock bottom for me was, well, it's interesting. I don't think you can get here without being at rock bottom a couple of different times.
Mhm.
Because rock bottom is beautiful. Rock bottom is the most beautiful gift that you can ever experience because it teaches you. It gives you the gift of knowing what you never want to feel ever again in your life. And so rock bottom could be seen as hard, or rock bottom could be seen as like beautiful. And for me, rock bottom was beautiful.
Same.
For
yeah.
me, rock bottom was when I lost everything and I couldn't afford rent. I lost everything. I couldn't afford groceries. I lost everything and I couldn't afford to like provide for my children. That was my rock bottom, right? That was my rock bottom financially.
And was this when you were working in real estate?
In real estate, yeah, in real estate. And then rock bottom spiritually, which is what I think a lot of people don't allow themselves to experience. Rock bottom spiritually is what changed my life forever. Because my mom died basically in my arms. My mom, listen to this, my mom got cancer and she had cancer and she basically withered away in front of me for 5 years. The worst part is that she got lung cancer and she never smoked a day in her life. So back then, when you're not aware of energy, when you're not aware of the spiritual world, you're number one, you think, how could that happen? Then number two, you think, oh my God, what if that happens to me? The deeper and deeper I went into my spiritual journey, the more and more that I realized is that we are all energy. Everything is energy and everything is polarity. Everything is positive and negative, right? Cause and effect, whatever you want to call it. And so the more and more I started to understand the body, for example, the more and more I started to understand that like the body holds grief,
Yeah.
right? The body holds our emotion, right? There's so many people who struggle with their weight. What they're actually struggling with is their relationship with food, which is their relationship with the mother, because the mother is the sustenance. The mother is the one that provides food for the baby. So maybe there was a disconnection there as a child.
That's so interesting. And my sister, who's our executive director for the foundation, is listening and wasn't expecting to have this conversation, but my sister has always had a weight problem and she works out. She tries to lose it. She tries so hard, but she's carried this weight. But our relationship with our mother was so different through all the years. So I want to hear
What
more.
was the difference? Tell me.
So, like I said, my mother was schizophrenic and suffered from depression. She passed in 2021. I was by her when she did. And my mother always came to me in her delusions and her illness. And I was like her golden child.
Got it.
She pushed away my sister, I would say. Blamed her, yelled at her. She was like very mean to my sister.
Yeah. So step one, the mother is the feminine representation of God to the child. The mother is the embodiment of love to a child. The father is the masculine representation of God to a child. Because think about it, as a child, like me and you, we don't really think about this because I can provide for myself, so can you. I can find food for myself, so can you. But when we were children, we couldn't. We literally were on our backs looking up, helpless. Helpless. Just let that sink in for a moment.
Yep.
Right? You came from the spirit world, you're here into the 3D world, you're on your back helpless, and you're depending on these two people to not only feed you physically, but feed you energetically, to provide for you energetically, right? And whatever you receive from them is how you see life.
Okay.
You understand? So if you receive nothing but love and compassion from two healed human beings, guess what you think of life? Oh my God, life is like heaven on earth. But if you have a mom, for example, that pushes you away, subconsciously, love is pushing you away. There's a fragmented relationship with the energy and frequency of love, and therefore your heart is closed. It's shut off. I can guarantee you, for people listening, you don't just have an issue with food, you have an issue with being loved in relationships as well. You have an issue with receiving financial abundance as well, because the heart, the feminine, receives. And it happens in all three areas: finances, relationships, and health. These are the three areas of human mastery. Yeah. I only know this because for me, my story is for the first 2 years of my life, I wasn't around my mom because my mom had a C-section, she had complications. So for a long time, I used to be 50 pounds overweight until I went in and I healed this relationship with food
How,
because it was a fragmented relationship with love.
so how did you heal it?
Oh, a lot of work,
Yeah.
a lot of work. This is where my story kind of shifts
Mhm.
because when my mom died, I was forced to ask myself some really tough questions. I had built up this outer life, this facade. I had the nice business with the nice house, with the nice cars, with the nice watch, with like the nice wife, with the nice kids, like everything nice, perfect, beautiful, with the good boy, the religious boy. I went to church every Sunday. I studied the Bible. I baptized people. I did everything that the world told me I needed to do to be happy. And the minute my mom died, these questions started coming to me. It was like a portal opened up, quite frankly. It was as if the way I see it now is that my mom and I had a soul contract, and my mom came literally to, you know, experience what she experienced so that it could then allow me to experience what I had to experience. And the minute my mom died, these questions started showing up that it wasn't me asking them. It was like they were coming to me like, are you happy? Do you know what you want? Is this the life you want to live? Who is God? What is God? Are you in love with your wife? Do you love what you do for a living? And it was like I couldn't shut it up. It's like and it was like deep inside of me. If I'm honest, I had lived my entire life as a coward.
Wow. And this realization was 2016.
This was 2000,
Uh,
whatever,
oh,
24, 20, 20, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17
okay.
ish, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the best way I can describe it is like you can live your entire life building up this beautiful facade
Mhm.
that's that's focused on glamour and things and houses and success and power and fame and all of it. The question is, are you happy?
Right.
And for me, the answer was no.
Right.
And when my mom passed away, I came face to face with the reality that the facade could no longer distract me. The pain of my mom's death, looking death in the eye, it was like calling me, like, what's up? What's going on?
You saying this almost like is making me emotional because I, and I actually am getting emotional, which
You'll
is,
get emotional. It's okay.
I always wanted my mom's attention. Never got it. I'm like, Mom, look what I did. Look what I did. She didn't, with her illness, she couldn't recognize her.
She couldn't.
No, she could never be proud of me. I just wanted to make her proud, and I did it, and there was nothing. And wow, I just listening to you say that, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, wow, I wanted to be something to her, to prove to her, so she could see me.
And thank you for sharing that because that's what we do before we spiritually awaken is we go out and we construct these lives
Yeah.
not based off of our truth, but based off of our wounding.
Mm.
It was like me. I constructed this life because I never got my mom's love. I never got my dad's approval or his love. My dad's dad never gave it to him. My mom's mom died when she was 13 days old.
Yeah.
So it's like my masculine was disconnected, my feminine was disconnected. So I went out, probably a lot like you, and I said, I'm going to go find love in this perfect life. And then when she died, it was like, now it's time to get real.
That exactly. I just finished recording my memoirs audiobook, and I hadn't read it in quite, for a couple years since it came out. And the last sentence I wrote was, it was after her passing, and I wrote, and now the healing begins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was just a couple weeks ago. I finished that, and I'm like, wow, now the healing begins.
That's right. And so for me, what happened was my entire, like religious background. I'm telling you, I was such a good boy. Like I would do only what they told. Like you don't do this. You don't have sex before marriage. You don't do like I was just like I just wanted to do what was right,
Yeah.
right? Because I felt like doing what was right would lead me to getting what I wanted subconsciously. Well, I was the guy that spoke so negatively about ayahuasca because ayahuasca I was told was the devil.
Mm-hmm.
That's evil. Right? Don't do that.
Yeah.
You're opening yourselves up to spirits and all this stuff. And then like when my mom died, it was like I started going through my divorce. I left my house. I was in this empty 2-bedroom apartment by myself. Like my business started to crumble. Everything started like my foundation was rocked to a core. So I thought, what else am I going to
Ayahuasca.
do? Well, it was just calling me.
That's what I hear it. All ayahuasca calls. I've never done it.
Oh, yeah.
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 I think, yeah. Kelly Goris was just in here last week, and she was doing it, and we talked about it on the podcast. Like, I just haven't been called. And she texted me after. She's like, you let me know when you're called to it. She's like, I really, like, after my ceremony, I thought about you, and you came into my mind. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm be getting there. I don't know yet, but
When you're there, you'll know.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're there, you'll know. So that's what changed everything for me.
What about that experience? Because I am still exploring, like, what that does. And I'm still trying to understand, like, how that is so transformational for so many
Sure.
people that I know.
Sure. So think about it this way. Let's take you for example.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you are me. Look at how our stories
Mm-hmm.
correlate.
Yeah.
And I bet you for a lot of listeners are like, oh my God, like I did. Maybe you didn't do it in business. Maybe you did it in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Or you make it all about your relationships. And then, your husband, cheats on you and leaves you. Now you're broken. And this is the journey of life. It happens this way so that we can eventually return to our heart. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I like to think of it and explain it is, when we are in our wounded energy, we're living in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
The mind is equivalent to fear. Let's put it that way. Because the mind is always trying to protect us. It's always trying to make sure that we stay safe, or it's always trying to make sure that we get what it is that we're looking to get, right? I call that like the masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
So in many ways, what happened in my masculine energy and your masculine energy, when we were a little boy and you were a little girl, we didn't get what we needed.
Right.
All you want and all I want and all you want is one thing: love.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So when we don't get that, we create a story and we go, I know how I'll get it. I'll get love, AKA mom's acceptance, by being successful. See what happens? So then what happens is we literally create an entire life that in the 3D world, everyone goes, oh my God, look at how successful you are. Yay. But in your heart, there's some things that aren't right.
Yeah.
There's some things that are missing. And that's what not only this medicine work, but this is what I do in my event, Awaken. When I did this and it changed my life, I thought to myself, oh my God, like the world needs this, but I know the world isn't ready to go like sit in the jungle and drink this stuff. So how can I create something that gives them the same effect? And that's what I created with Awaken. And you can get the same effect through your breathing, quite frankly.
Yeah. Awaken. I actually made a note about that because my second home is Palm Springs.
Oh yeah.
That is my magical. I freaking love Palm Springs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I saw that you were doing an event there, so I
Yeah.
made a little calendar note of that.
Just come be my guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
I'll put it to you this way. if you want to like sit with ayahuasca, or for example, if this conversation is moving you and you're finding relatability in it, then like before you go sit with the medicine, come to Awaken.
Yeah.
Because you are going to experience, probably for the first time in your life, the most profound spiritual experience of your life. You are going to reconnect with your ancestors. You'll probably see your mom. You'll probably see your angels and your spirit guides. Your mind will be blown at what happens there, because it's like this perfect combination of my gifting. We all have a gifting. My ability to help you, kind of what just happened right now. You got emotional without realizing it, right?
Mm.
Help you to see and feel things that are in your energy, basically, that you weren't aware of, and help you to unravel them when it comes to money, health, and relationships, right?
Yeah.
And then we combine that with beautiful breath work and meditation,
Yeah.
and different workshops and activities to help you see essentially how you truly can have whatever it is that you want in life. It's profound.
I love that. And I love, I can feel your energy with this. And like, I'm in this, again, last sentence in my book, and now we can heal. And I've done so much work and I feel, and I have the life I want. I have all of this, but I'm like, you haven't quite unlocked that. Something like it's here.
Come to Awaken. You unlock it.
I'm coming.
Yeah. Because can we get a little deeper?
Yeah.
So watch this. So now let's talk about, for both a man and a woman
Mhm.
who are driven, successful, the whole thing. That's great.
Yep.
Because the world tells you that's what you need, right?
Mhm.
How does that impact your relationships, though?
In what way?
Well, think about this. Like, really think about this. Energetically, how does it impact your relationship? So, like for me, for example, it impacted in my relationship in that I was so driven, I was afraid to be at peace.
Yeah.
I was afraid to be at home, right? And so I actually, back then, I used my career, my need to provide, I used it to, without knowing it, manipulate my family and say, well, don't you want nice things? Don't you want to have a nice house, right? Well, this is the sacrifice that you're going to, right? So my wife never had a chance with me.
And this is your ex-wife. You're
Yeah,
speaking of.
she never had a chance at real love with me. Do you know why? Because I didn't know what real love was inside of myself.
Yeah.
I thought love was going out and building a business. You
Mhm.
know, all she wanted? She just wanted my heart.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
I can see that because I've spent the past, well, with Tone It Up, 15 years building, growing this, getting everything massive. And I do see, and I feel, and I've been told by different people I work with, I have a very masculine energy.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
And then I was told when I moved to Texas that Texas is really feminine.
it's a
And-
healing place.
And they're like, this is a good move for you. I'm
It's a
like,
very good movie. Listen, in all seriousness, there is a little girl inside of you
yeah.
that didn't get her emotional needs met.
Yeah.
And eventually, at some point in time, it's time to meet that little girl.
Mhm.
And it's time to heal her heart. Because here's what I promise you. I'm telling you this as your friend, but as your brother as well. When you do that, it's gonna impact everything.
Yeah.
Everything in a beautiful way.
Yeah, and a lot of people listening, and they're like, "I've done the work." I mean, trust me, I've done so much work. I've done the EMDR, I've done the therapy, the talk therapy, the psychiatrist, not the ayahuasca. I was in my teens and early 20s, just misused drugs like crazy. So I don't like to lose my mind.
Sure, understood.
So, but
Come to Awaken.
I'm open to anything.
You'll. Here's what I promise you though. You'll lose your mind there, just without any. You'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Yeah, I want to talk more about the masculine and your belief of masculine and feminine roles.
Sure.
Because I did get some questions about that.
Let's do it.
Can you explain a little more about what the masculine is and the feminine and what you believe each role is?
Well, it's not what I believe. It's like, okay, I'm gonna say this pretty bluntly. Like, I feel like we as a society need to like if we're really serious about finding truth, truth and belief cannot coexist. Because something either is or something either isn't, right? I'll give you this example. What is masculine, right? And what is feminine? We all of us have masculine and feminine energy. We all have a positive and negative side to us. And by the way, yes, feminine is negative. Why? Because feminine receives,
Mhm.
masculine gives. So think about it this way. Go back to the point in which you were conceived. I'm going to give you the greatest example for masculine and feminine energy, which, if you remember, the energy of sex is one of the energies of human mastery. What had to happen in order for you to be here on this planet listening to my voice? I'm going to tell you what had to happen. And I'm going to tell you in a very straight up fashion because the world is trying to get you to forget that this is what actually happened. And without it happening, you would not be alive today. Ready? Your dad had to not get soft. He couldn't limp in.
Right.
He had to get fucking hard.
Yes.
Right? Right? He had to step into the fullness of his masculine. And your mother had to not be hard and rigid. What did she have to do? She had to soften and open. And she had to allow and receive. And your dad had to provide and enter. So I don't give a damn what the world tells you. Just go back to sex to find out the truth. The masculine provides and the feminine receives.
Okay.
Yeah?
Mhm.
So now let's talk about this dynamic then in real life, because I also understand the dynamics of there's a lot of women that because of that dynamic, their hearts have been broken
Mhm.
because men have taken advantage of that. I work with women who have been sexually abused. That's a thing we deal with at Awaken. But I also work with women that have been emotionally abused, where they finally said to themselves, yes, I'm willing to receive. And that vulnerability caused them hurt and pain.
Mhm.
The first place that a woman experiences that pain from a masculine is from her father.
Okay.
Because if the father is not present, if the father is not loving, the father could even be present, but be like me, always working. Again, if she does not get the one thing that she wanted, which was love, she is going to create a wounded pattern in her masculine energy. And that wounded pattern will go out and attract the partner, the career, the life. It'll literally create a life based off of that wounding,
Mhm.
right? And not that that is good or bad. It's just become aware of it.
Mhm.
Become aware of it. That's it, right? So then what happens is that the same way that you were born and that you wanted only one thing to receive love, well, then when you and your partner get together and create a child and that child is born, what does that child want? To receive love.
Mhm.
That's it. So, how does this happen and how was this intended to happen? How were we created? Right? Again, forget about what the news tells you, forget about what feminine power, I'm not saying anything is wrong. Let's just look at it for what it is. We were created as human beings, as little children, to receive protection and to be provided for by our Father, so that our mother, who is the source and the sustenance of our life, can be free to do only one thing: be a mother.
Mhm.
That's it. But wait a minute, when am I going to work? But wait a minute, when am I going to do my social media? But wait a minute, when am I going to like provide for myself? But wait a minute, I don't want him to provide for me. That's your mind.
Mhm.
That's your mind. And quite frankly, that is fear. Because I've said this before and I'll say it again. Any human being on earth would gladly allow themselves to receive, if I gave you right now, $1 million right now for doing absolutely nothing. Just go sit back on the couch, relax, chill out, and I just give you $1 million. Would you take it, yes or no? You don't even have to think twice about that. No strings attached. It's just $1 million.
For how long do I have to sit?
Just
How
sit
long?
for a second. It doesn't
Oh,
matter,
yeah.
right? Okay, now, but look at your masculine. Look at how it was like, but what a how, blah, 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 right? I'll take that shit right now. Give it to me right now, right? That's the feminine. It's receiving, right? So what happens is in the dynamic of relationship, the feminine has a very difficult time nowadays trusting in the masculine, in men,
Mm,
to receive. Why? Because our men are not connected to their feminine.
correct.
Our men are not connected to their feelings, to their emotions, to their honor, quite frankly, to their love,
So how do we change this?
by healing. This is my purpose on the planet,
Yeah.
right? This is our purpose on the planet. Because when a man is connected to the truth and the fullness of his masculine, listen carefully. He will go out there, he will provide, he'll have the vision for the family, he'll go out there and take care. The masculine gives direction. Yeah? I'm not saying that a woman couldn't do this. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. We all have both. But what about his feminine? His feminine loves. I love Jen so much. She doesn't want to live there. No problem. We're moving.
Yeah.
Because my heart, when a man is really in love, he just wants to provide happiness and safety and care for his woman. Yeah? And so watch, on the flip side, we were just coming over here. I was on my way here and Jen calls me. Jen is this beautiful 5'10", like yoga teacher. Like, she has followers. She has the whole thing. The whole thing. She wants to make an app. She wants to.
Yeah.
And she calls me. She's like, baby, you know what? I said, what? She said, I realize I've just been so stressed out about life and I finally understand what it is. And I said, what is it, baby? She said, and she's like crying to me. She says, I realize all I really want to do is the one thing I've been avoiding doing because I've been trying to make myself do all of these things that really don't matter to me anymore. And I said, what is it, baby? She says, I just want to be a mom. That's it. I just want to be a mom. She says, I just took Selena to a little swim class and like her happiness is all I want. You see how this works?
Mm-hmm.
I provide the happiness for Jen and then her heart is able to fully open and she provides the happiness to the kids. And no one talks about this because everyone wants to be busy.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't be busy and be happy. Happiness is only found in stillness. Happiness is only found in your heart. And this is the scariest part of awakening. Because awakening means that a part of you has to die.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Awakening means that part of you that needs to be busy, that needs to be go, that needs to provide for yourself, that needs to be that wounded part of you, right? That can't sit still, that can't meditate, that can't find quietness, that can't find peace, that is always at stress, that is always, that part of you has to die. Because that part of you is not the truth of who you are. You learned that. You learned to be up here because you couldn't be here because your parents, the world, and society taught you that being here is not safe.
So you're saying being here and touching your heart and being in your heart and being present. Someone listening who is just like, I don't even know how to begin.
Yeah.
I don't even know like what that means. Like, how do I start? Because I am one, and it is a lifelong journey of, I've been in depression and then I've come out of it and I've had the success and the marriage.
Can I ask you for a favor?
Yeah.
Can you commit to me that you'll come to Awaken, please?
Yes.
Because I want to see your eyeballs and your tears coming out of your eyes when you reconnect to that little girl. It's going to be so beautiful.
What are the dates?
It's July. The Miami one is June 6th through 9th.
I'm going to Palm Springs.
Okay, and Palm Springs is the 25th to 27th. You and your
Of
husband
June?
come. Yep, of July.
July.
Yeah. You and your husband come, and you're my guest. Because if I even mention your heart, you start crying. And what that's telling me is your body has so much that it's holding on to that it wants to release. It just doesn't know how. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when you feel like you've done all the healing, there's, like I mentioned earlier, there's just so much
There's
more.
There's a deeper level. And all I'm there to do, it's not about me. I'm just a guy. Like, remember those titles of like spiritual leader and
Spiritual
No.
leader,
Look,
life coach.
no. I'm not a life coach. No. Listen, I'm just a human being.
Yeah.
who knows what it feels like to be living in that pain without realizing it and finding what it feels like to come back to here. And I'm just like, if I can just guide you back to here, we all can help heal each other.
I'm there. And
I
if
can't wait.
anyone
I
listening,
can't
come find
wait.
me there. Palm Springs.
Yes.
Palm Springs is my healing place. The mountains.
Let's do
It's
it.
like, yes.
Let's do it.
And gosh,
So where does somebody begin?
yes. Sorry.
Listen, so let's go back to New York. Do you remember when I said that New York was like, if you live in New York, you can, like, there's a lot you can experience, but forget about peace.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's because if you think about the way that we were as human beings prior to us and all of our cockamamie ideas, like for 50,000 years, we as a species were afraid of dying
Mm-hmm.
because an animal could kill us at night. Because we didn't have any protection. We didn't have any homes. Like, so we're constantly, this is a lot of our fears ingrained in us. So then we started to build homes and huts and stuff like this, right? And then we took it overboard and we built these cities with these massive buildings that have zero connection to the frequency and the energy of the earth, right? We don't have yards anymore. We're in high rise buildings in Miami. Like, you don't want to, no, how are you ever going to be grounded?
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to start, my invitation to you is to drop your cell phone, drop any EMF devices, go take off your shoes and go for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Go sit with your back on a tree, with your feet on the ground and your hands on the ground, and just close your eyes and breathe. And watch what happens. Watch what happens. Watch. Watch how your heart is literally, you can even do this standing up. Go stand on a patch of grass. You know, hopefully there's no cars around and just stand there and just get your breathing to as shallow as it possibly can. And you're going to see yourself. You're going to physically go. Because a lot of us were walking around Earth like this. We're so stressed out. You're going to feel your heart. Your heart's going to be like, what is she doing? She's relaxing? Oh my God. Does this mean I can relax? You'll feel it. Mark my words. You'll feel it. You literally feel your heart going like, what the fuck is happening? Oh my God. I could let go. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. And you'll feel your mind. Your mind will go. Go do that.
Isn't that what we all just want?
That's what we
And
all
it's-
want. And it's there for us.
And it's free.
It's free. Yes. It's free. Yes. Yes.
And we all have that ability, but it's
Yes.
rewiring the brain, the mind. And it seems so simple. And especially, you know, as I'm unraveling and traumas and what I have going on. But it's like I see it every day. I see it.
Mhm.
See it.
Mhm.
And you just got to say yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where you start.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's so many different modalities. Like, let's talk about meditation. Meditation is a wonderful modality. Here's the problem. Until you have had that spiritual connection, it's really hard for most people to quiet the mind enough to experience the true power in meditation. Because the true power in meditation is getting you to connect spiritually. But the mind is so active that's why at Awaken, we use the breath. We use the breath. So I basically work on you for 3 days and I'm like poking and poking and poking and poking and confronting and showing and exposing and to the paradigm you've created with my words, right? A little bit like what we're doing here. I'm showing you different energy levels. I'm showing you the energy of shame. I'm showing you the energy of guilt. I'm showing you the energy of pride. I'm showing you how you can make millions of dollars and yet be the furthest from your heart and from love, right? I'm showing you the energy of courage. I'm showing you what the frequency of love looks like. I'm showing you how to get there. And then we actually like roll up our sleeves, we put on the blindfolds, we lay down, and we go. And we go in. You ever seen 800 people gagging and crying and releasing years,
Yeah.
years?
Well, that's with breath work too. They say it's like it can be like an ayahuasca experience.
That's yeah.
And I've seen Bobby the first time he did breath work with my one of my teachers and friends, Gwen Dittmar, and we did it in the privacy of our home. And I had never seen, and I know he gets shy talking about this,
It's okay.
but I think it's good to talk about it because he was like his is an out of body experience of screaming, crying, this like sitting
Yeah,
up, not like he was like, what's happening? And it literally is releasing so much that is held in your body.
that's right. That's right. And then what I what I felt called to lead people through is we do it with a twist.
Mhm.
Because the three energies that would ever keep you from what I call self-actualization. Self-actualization is returning to yourself. Self-actualization, if you've ever watched the movie The Matrix,
Mhm.
homework, go watch the movie The Matrix. That is a movie of returning to you being the one, right? That's what we lead you through. And the energies that block that are the mother wound, the father wound, behind that, a disconnection with your ancestors. And then the third one is sexual trauma.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you know how many women have experienced sexual trauma that come to awaken? This blew my
No.
mind. It's like 80%.
Wow. And sexual trauma can be broad.
Yeah.
Like, can you explain what that could be? Perhaps there's women that don't even realize they have had it.
Well, what normally happens is like on day one, because you see the spirit world knows that you're there for 3 days. So like sometimes on day one, like people remember like, oh my God, when I was a little girl, this thing happened, or a little boy, whatever, this thing happened to me, and I've been blocking it my whole time. And then like by day two, like more healing, and then by day three, I actually we do I don't want to call it a workshop. We do an exercise that is really profound, and we heal. We heal right then and there the masculine and the feminine, and the mother and the father wound, and we reconnect you to all your ancestors. It's the wildest, most profound. I'm just,
I
it's
can't wait.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
I can't wait. I cannot
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
Oh man, I have loved this conversation so much, and I would love to have you back after I go to Awake.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I can't wait.
Uh,
Listen, Mark. Listen. Mark my
okay.
words.
Okay.
Mark my words.
Mhm.
You are going to be crying like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. You two are both going to be crying like babies. You two are both going to reconnect in your relationship in such a beautiful way. It's so profound. Um, and you, I just see you already.
Mhm.
I see you looking at me looking at you, you crying, I'm hugging you. Like life is just going to be great. I'm going to go on record as saying it will be the most profound 3 days of your life.
Yeah.
All I need you to do is surrender. That's all I need you to do.
And get Bobby. Got to convince Bobby.
Bobby will come. Don't worry. He'll come. Yeah.
All right, Danny. I can't wait for the next adventure with you,
Let's do it.
and then a follow up. I appreciate you, this conversation, everything that you're doing to change lives, and everything that you've been through. And it just again proves that you can have so many different chapters of your life
Yeah.
and changes
Yeah.
from career, love, marriage, everything.
Well, I'm going to say it this way.
Mhm.
That's one of the scary parts of awakening.
Mhm.
Because when you do, you realize that everything that you've built has been built from that fear.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It hasn't really been built from the real you. And the world is here to gladly tell you everything that you need to be happy. And until you realize that happiness is only found inside, guess what you do? You're consuming and taking
Mhm.
and living from what it tells you. And so that's the beauty of awakening, is that you get to build life from what you, the real you wants.
Let's go.
Let's do this.
All right. And how does everyone find you?
Instagram or wherever.
Yeah, wherever.
Danny Morel. Yeah. If they want to come to Awaken, I'll do this. What do we give? Let's give them a code or something.
Okay.
I'll give them a discount or
Yeah. Go in the show notes. Say Karena.
Karena. How do you spell that?
Karena.
Karena. You type in Karena. I'll make the team give you a discount code, 20% off. How's that?
Amazing.
And we'll all hang out together.
All right, you
We're
can
all,
come see me cry.
Come see her cry, and then promise me this. Let's take a picture together, all of us. Like if you come and you're part, and then we're all watch. You'll see on day 3. You'll see what happens.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
The big silence. The big silence.